Exactly 10 minutes after the hour. Hour number 2 of your Radio Factory. Old JG with you. John Galla for this Wednesday, Hump Day, July 21st, 2010. Special co-host in the studio with me, an icon of rock and roll. You might not know the name, but you're going to know that voice. You're going to know the saxophone playing. With me today, Bobby King. Welcome back for hour number 2, Bobby. You can get in close to the microphone now. Oh, I got to turn his microphone on. Turn that last switch over to the right. Now, no, all the way to the left, I'm sorry. Now push that lever above it over to the right. To the right. No. That last lever to the left, push it right. There, Nicholas, the grandson, just did it.
It goes to show you.
You might want to put those earphones on, too. Thank you, Nicholas. Yeah, they're around your neck. They're around your neck. See, they're very light today. You remember the old days with the earphones when they weighed like 400 pounds?
Yes.
And today it was just around your neck. Well, welcome back for hour number 2. Thank you, Nicholas, again.
Thank you, Nicholas.
Now, how old is Nicholas, by the way, your grandson?
Nicholas is 17 years old.
17.
18 in August.
18 in August. Okay, that's very important when you're that age. He's going to be 18 in August.
He got 7 scholarships to colleges all over.
A little round of applause there.
And he's going to Fordham.
Is he going to Fordham? Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent, Nicholas. What do you want to do? Do you have an idea yet?
Not sure yet.
Not sure yet, but Fordham's a great school.
I think he wants your job.
Hey, believe me. Grandpa will tell you, or whatever you call him, Poppy, whatever you call your grandfather, I don't know about it.
I know. I was just telling him.
It's a tough industry.
You know, I have a friend of mine.
Entertainment is a very tough industry.
I have a friend of mine who maybe went to the 3rd grade, but I think he's brilliant. He learned everything from the streets. He's a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
And I was having some problems that someone was leaving my business and all that, and they were going to try and do it on their own.
Right.
And he says, Bob, he says, keep in mind, the magician makes the trick look easy.
You're right. Hey, in the studio, this is Bobby King, and I have to say something. You look like Dion with hair.
Well, the hair I can leave here if you want.
No, but you look like Dion.
Really?
No, I wish it were TV because you get a better feel for this guy, and there's something you look very.
Thank you. But I think the other is bald also.
Yeah, I think he is.
He wears a hat.
He wears a hat all the time. We were talking before the break. Now, Bobby King has been with the Buckinghams. We all remember them from the mid-'60s. Dion and the Belmonts. You knew an awful lot of the great musicians on stage with them. The likes of Freddie Paris and the Five Satins. I mean, this is a classic era. Before the break, you mentioned that Elvis Presley, you thought, had one of the great voices.
In my opinion.
In your opinion, of rock and roll. Let's look at the positive and negative side. How about some of the people you work with? Who were some of the nasty people, and who were some of the nice guys in the industry?
Well,
we're not going to get sued. Don't worry. I mean, who just sort of rubbed you the wrong way? And what are these people like? When we see them on TV, or we see the old kinescopes on the Ed Sullivan Show, they all look great. They're all smiling, but I'm sure that there was some acrimony going on.
Yes, there was. The person that stays in my mind up until now, and I just turned 70.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Is Jerry Lewis with his telethon and everything else.
Yeah.
In person, he looks down on people.
You're kidding.
Like he's above them.
Wow.
I mean, there were musicians around him, and he was talking down to them.
Yeah.
I remember one.
You're bringing back some memories now. I had heard that he was a real taskmaster.
Yeah. Well, one performer went over to him and said, "Oh, Mr. Lewis, I love it." And they just turned away from him. Turned away from him.
Wow. How about nice guys?
There's a lot of nice guys in the business. And in fact, there's one guy right now that I still have a very good relationship with.
Yeah.
His name is Ernie Barry. And, in fact, he's playing at a place this Sunday called Villa Villaggio in Massapequa.
Okay.
Been a musician all his life, had a big club in Brooklyn, the Ernie Barry nightclub, and go out of his way for you. And there are a lot of people like that.
What group was he with? Do you recall?
I don't know. He has his own group. But he has Angelo in his group who played throughout World War II. Angelo is an icon unto himself.
How about the major stars that we'd recognize, like Dion? What was he like?
Dion,
off stage.
Again, Dion had a very rough personality.
Did he really?
And he was tough with his people and tough to people. And he had a tremendous ego. And I think that's one of the reasons why the group broke up.
Yeah, I wonder if the Belmonts are still around somewhere.
I believe they are.
You know who's a new? Are there any of the new groups out today that you really like? And I have to mention one that's my favorite. I think they would have probably made it back in the 50s and 60s. As a matter of fact, the lead singer of this group, I used to be with Jay and the Americans, Kenny Vance and the Planetones. Have you ever caught them?
Saw them 4 times already.
What do you think?
I think they're great. I think
they really are. They've got a nice sound to them. They really, really
I
do.
like the fact
that song, "Looking for an Echo."
Yes.
Excellent stuff.
Well, this is what we did. I mean, you found a place either under a bridge or in a hallway, and the groups all sang together.
Well, you mentioned Elvis, and I think it's the song Heartbreak Hotel. Yeah, it's Heartbreak Hotel. I read an interesting story about that just a couple years before, the engineers in the radio or the recording industry discovered how to do reverb, or an echo, for lack of a better word. That Elvis wanted that echoey sound to Heartbreak Hotel, where they actually recorded it in a stairway.
Really?
They stretched the microphone cable out to the stairway to get that reverb going. And these were the days where, I mean, most records today, even in the 60s, there's famous stories about the Beach Boys and Beatles, that they would spend hours and hours and hours and take after take after take. In the early infancy of rock and roll, it was just like, it had to be almost like a one-take wonder, right?
Absolutely, and that's the difference.
You couldn't overdub or anything, right?
I had musician friends that recorded with Sinatra, and they said that to record with him, you had to be there for hours upon, because everything had to be perfect. And they would take and edit it right down to one note to bring it up to 440.
Yeah.
And
wow.
In fact, talk about people who changed in later years. Sinatra got very bitter in later years.
Yeah, you hear, there's those famous stories about Frank getting into fistfights, and he was nobody to mess with.
No, he's a tough cookie.
And he had some friends around him that, you may not want to...
He had connections, I'll tell you a fair story.
Hey, go ahead. I want to get into that, too, because I heard in the early days of rock and roll, that lack of a better word, the mob might have been involved a little bit.
Many times. Well, I was married very young. In fact, my wife, Teresa, is still with me after 52 years.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Yeah, I guess she don't know her way out of the house.
She must be quite a lady.
She is
now
quite
that's
a lady.
Great.
She is quite a lady. But I was working a club, and I won't mention the club because I like my legs.
Yeah, exactly.
And supposedly, from what they said, the young men that were running the club were the sons of the gangsters. And they were being trained to be shipped to other parts of Long Island, Queens, Brooklyn, New Jersey, to run nightclubs. So it was a training center. And I'll change some names. So we're working one night, and Rocco says to me, he's the... I've already changed the name.
Yeah, that's good.
He says...
let's be really correct about it. Let's call him John. And that way nobody can complain about a nationality. So this guy, John, go ahead.
The nationalities were there. I'm part of that nationality base myself.
Yeah, right.
But in any case, he comes over to me and he says, hey, Bobby, you're working Thursday night. I says, I can't work Thursday night. I said, I work 5 days a week at an ad agency. I go to college 3 nights a week. And I'm here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I can't do it. I need that Thursday night off.
Yeah.
Hey, you're working Thursday night. I says, okay, John.
Yeah.
I says, is there any way we can not do that? He said, no. This is the address. This is where you go.
Right.
All right. So it's in a burned out section of Brooklyn. I mean, dilapidated.
Yeah.
And we pull up to this brownstone. And the brownstone is all boarded up. Boards. It looks like it's ready to come down.
Yeah.
And my guitar player, Gary Chandler, who's still a good friend of mine, he says, you made a mistake. You screwed up. You got the wrong address. It could be either east or west or what. But Brooklyn, I get lost in Brooklyn anyway. So I said, look, and there's 4 idiots standing there in tuxedos ready to play for this guy, not knowing where we are. I mean, we had signs on our back, targets.
Right.
All of a sudden, underneath the steps of this brownstone, the door opens out with the boards on it.
Right.
And I still have to correct myself with the name.
Speakeasy or something? Or what?